Welcome back to Clutch Arena, your home for the biggest moments in sports history. Tonight, we aren't just talking about a game, we are talking about a national awakening. We are talking about a moment that will be etched in the heart of every baseball fan in South America forever. History has been made right here in Miami at Lone Depot Park. For the first time ever, the Stars and Stripes have been humbled and the gold has a new home. Ladies and gentlemen, Venezuela is your 2026 World Baseball Classic champion. In a heart-stopping, nail-biting 3-2 victory over the heavily favored Team USA, Venezuela proved that Arepa power is the most dominant force in world baseball. Before we break down the tactical masterclass and the clutch hits that stunned the world, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You do not want to miss a single second of this historic summary on Clutch Arena. The atmosphere in Miami was unlike anything we've seen in years. It felt like a home game for Venezuela as thousands of fans turned the stadium into a sea of yellow, blue, and red. The narrative coming into this final was David versus Goliath. Team USA, the defending giants with a lineup worth hundreds of millions of dollars, was expected to steamroll their way to another trophy. But Venezuela, led by the grit of manager Omar Lopez and the veteran leadership of Salvador Perez, had other plans. They didn't just come to play, they came to conquer. From the very first pitch, you could see the intensity in the eyes of the Venezuelan players. They were playing for their families, their fans, and a country that lives and breathes this sport. The game was a defensive masterpiece for the first few innings, a true pitcher's duel that kept fans on the edge of their seats. Venezuela drew first blood in the third inning when Maikel García drove in the opening run with a sacrifice fly, sending the crowd into a frenzy. They extended that lead in the fifth thanks to a towering solo home run from Wilyer Abreu, and for a moment, it looked like Venezuela was going to cruise to victory. But as we know, you can never count out Team USA. In the eighth inning, Bryce Harper did what he does best, hitting a massive two-run blast to dead center that tied the game and nearly blew the roof off the stadium. It was a moment of pure desperation and brilliance that set the stage for one of the most dramatic final innings in WBC history. But Venezuela's resolve was unbreakable. In the top of the ninth, with the pressure at its absolute peak, Eugenio Suárez stepped up and delivered the hit of a lifetime, a go-ahead RBI double that reclaimed the lead. Then, it was up to Daniel Palencia to shut the door. With 100 Miot fastballs and nerves of steel, he sat down the American Stars 1-2-3 to seal the championship. The celebration that followed was pure emotion. Players crying, fans screaming, and a nation united in pride. This wasn't just a win, it was a statement to the world that the balance of power in baseball has shifted. Stick around, because in the next part, we are going deep into the early inning strategy and the pitching performance that kept the USA's dream team silent for most of the night. The first few innings of this championship showdown were a pure testament to the phrase, "Pitching wins championships." On the mound for Venezuela was the veteran left-hander Eduardo Rodriguez, who stepped into the spotlight with a nation's hopes on his shoulders. Opposite him was the young American fire thrower Nolan McLean, who was given the ball for the biggest start of his life. Right from the first pitch, it was clear that Rodriguez had his A-game working. He was painting the corners with a devastating mix of change-ups and cutters that left some of the best hitters in the world, names like Aaron Judge and Bryce Harper, swinging at air. Through the first 4 innings, Rodriguez was a surgeon, allowing only 1 hit and keeping the potent Team USA offense completely off balance. The strategy from Venezuela was clear: stay ahead in the count and force the Americans into uncomfortable ground balls. While Rodriguez was shutting the door, the Venezuelan offense was patient, waiting for their moment to strike. That moment arrived in the top of the third inning. Salvador Perez, the veteran leader of this squad, ignited the dugout with a lead-off single. After a walk to Ronald Acuna Jr., the pressure shifted entirely to McLean. The young American struggled with his command in the heat of the moment, bouncing a curveball that allowed both runners to advance into scoring position. This was the opening Venezuela needed. Maikel García, who would eventually be named the tournament's most valuable player, stepped to the plate with a job to do. With ice in his veins, Garcia drove a high fly ball deep enough into center field to score Perez on a sacrifice fly. It was 1-0 Venezuela, and you could feel the momentum shift throughout Lone Depot Park. The tactical battle intensified as we moved into the middle innings. Venezuela wasn't satisfied with a one-run lead. In the fifth inning, Wilyer Abreu, one of the most underrated stars of this tournament, stepped up against McLean. On an 0-1 count, McLean made a mistake, leaving a fastball right in the heart of the plate. Abreu didn't miss. He launched a towering 414-foot solo home run to dead center field, his helmet flying off as he rounded second base in pure jubilation. At 2-0, the stadium in Miami, packed with a pro-Latin American crowd, erupted into a sea of noise and flags. It felt like the dream was becoming a reality. On the other side of the dugout, Team USA was searching for answers. Their dream team lineup, which had averaged nearly 6 runs a game leading up to the final, was being systematically dismantled by Rodriguez and the Venezuelan bullpen. Every time an American hitter reached base, the Venezuelan defense was there to make a play. We saw spectacular range from the middle infield and a catching masterclass from Salvador Perez behind the plate. As the game crossed the halfway point, the tension was palpable. Venezuela was playing with the discipline of a team that had been here 100 times before, while the Americans were starting to feel the weight of the ticking clock. The stage was set for a dramatic late-inning surge that would test the nerves of every fan watching across the globe. As we moved into the late innings, the tension in Miami reached a level that felt almost unbearable. Venezuela was clinging to a 2-0 lead, but everyone in the stadium knew that a 2-run cushion against Team USA is never truly safe. The American dugout, which had been uncharacteristically quiet for the first 6 innings, finally started to show signs of life in the bottom of the 7th. Venezuela's bullpen, which had been lights out throughout the entire World Baseball Classic, was finally beginning to show the physical toll of a long tournament. After a lead-off walk to Mookie Betts, the crowd's energy shifted. You could feel the USA chants starting to drown out the Latin rhythms that had dominated the night. The 8th inning will go down as one of the most dramatic frames in the history of international baseball. With 1 runner on and 1 out, Bryce Harper stepped into the batter's box. This was the moment every American fan had been waiting for, the face of the franchise with a chance to save the season. Venezuela countered with their flame-throwing right-hander, searching for the strikeout to move 1 step closer to the trophy. The count went to 2-1, and the pitcher tried to sneak a high-velocity sinker past Harper. But you don't give a hitter like Bryce Harper a second look at a pitch like that. With 1 thunderous swing, Harper launched a massive 2-run home run into the deep center field bleachers, tying the game at 2-2. The roar from the American fans was deafening. It felt like the momentum had swung permanently in favor of the defending champions. For any other team, a blow like that in the 8th inning of a championship final would have been the end. The psychological impact of losing a lead that late is usually devastating. But this Venezuelan squad was built differently. Instead of hanging their heads, the players gathered at the top of the dugout steps, screaming encouragement to one another. They knew they had 3 outs left to make history. Manager Omar Lopez made a crucial tactical move, bringing in his high-leverage defenders and calming the storm. The atmosphere was a chaotic mix of desperation and hope, with both sets of fans standing on their seats, unable to look away from the diamond. As we headed into the ninth, the air was thick with the realization that we were witnessing a winner-take-all moment for the ages. Team USA had the momentum, but Venezuela had the heart of their order coming up. The pitching change for the Americans brought in their closer, a man who hadn't blown a save all year. It was the ultimate test of wills, the American power versus the Venezuelan resilience. Every pitch was a story, every foul ball was a heartbeat, and the world was watching to see who would blink first in this 2-2 deadlock. The stage was set for a hero to emerge, and what happened next would cement the 2026 World Baseball Classic as the greatest tournament ever played. The top of the ninth inning began with a heavy silence hanging over the American fans and a frantic energy in the Venezuelan dugout. The game was tied 2-2. The momentum from Bryce Harper's home run was still vibrating through the stadium, but Venezuela refused to be a footnote in someone else's story. Luis Arias led off the inning by showing incredible plate discipline, drawing a crucial walk against the American reliever Garrett Whitlock. Manager Omar Lopez then made the move of the tournament, bringing in Javier Sanoja as a pinch runner. With the game on the line, Sanoja took a massive lead and took off, sliding into second base just milliseconds before the tag. The go-ahead run was now in scoring position with no outs. Then came the moment that will be replayed in Caracas and Maracaibo for decades. Eugenio Suárez, a man who has played with passion throughout this entire classic, stepped into the box. He didn't look for the home run, he looked for the gap. On a 2-2 count, Suárez stayed back on a fading changeup and smoked a line drive into the left center gap. As the ball hit the turf and rolled toward the wall, Sanoja rounded third and sprinted home. Venezuela reclaimed the lead, 3-2. Suárez stood on second base, arms spread wide, pointing to the sky as his teammates poured out of the dugout in a preview of the celebration to come. They had answered the call. They had punched back. But the job wasn't done. To win the gold, they had to navigate the heart of the American Dream Team one last time. Enter Daniel Palencia. The young right-hander stepped onto the mound with 100 milliliters heat and the weight of a nation on his shoulders. His first task, Kyle Schwarber. Palencia didn't blink, blowing a high heater past him for the first out. Next was Gunnar Henderson, who sent a sky-high pop-up to third base, out number 2. The stadium was now a wall of sound. Every Venezuelan fan was on their feet, flags waving, tears already starting to flow. The final obstacle was the young star Roman Anthony. Palencia leaned back and fired, 98, 99, and finally a 100-meter fastball that Anthony swung through for the strikeout. The scene that followed was pure baseball magic. Palencia fell to his knees, pounding his chest as his teammates swarmed him in a massive pile of yellow, blue, and red. Eugenio Suárez emerged from the chaos holding the Venezuelan flag high above his head, weeping with joy. For the first time in history, Venezuela had climbed the mountain and planted their flag at the summit of the baseball world. They finished the tournament 6-1, proving that heart and unity can overcome any dream team. The celebration moved from the field to the clubhouse and eventually to the streets of Miami and Venezuela, where a national holiday was practically declared on the spot. History was made, a legacy was cemented, and the World Baseball Classic had a new king. This was more than just a championship. It was a statement that the world of baseball has shifted. From Rodriguez's dominance on the mound to Suárez's clutch heroics, Venezuela showed the world what arepa power truly means. But what do you think? Was this the greatest World Baseball Classic final in history, or did Team USA let this one slip away? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the biggest sports stories and viral highlights like this one, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to Clutch Arena, and turn on those notifications. We are bringing you the heat every single day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.